thought it was absolutely crazy when I saw this.
So why was I surprised? Well, I was driving around North Surrey and I saw this lineup of home buyers standing in line to buy new construction condominiums in a new tower coming up in North Surrey. Now, why is this so surprising? Well, condos are in serious trouble. Developers are sitting on tons of unsold inventory. Buyers are walking away from pre-sales and prices are dropping. But what's really happening behind the scenes is even worse.
In today's video, we're going to talk about the exact reason why condos are struggling, what this means for people that are considering to buy them, and how if you are considering of buying one, how you can take advantage of this market to get the absolute best deal possible. Because if you don't understand what's happening, you could severely overpay for a condo right now, but you could also miss out on an incredible, monstrous opportunity, one that I'm going to let you know a little bit more about towards the end of the video. Plus, I want to show you a text message that I got from a developer that changed everything I thought I knew about buying a pre-sale condo in today's market, and it's likely something that's going to make you sick to your stomach. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about what is really happening right now. You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right. Selling real estate since 2007, I've seen many boom and bust markets, and I've seen condominiums go through cycles of immense pressure to buy, and also through times where nobody wanted to touch them with a 10-foot pole. A few years ago, people were fighting in bidding wars over pre-sale condo units. The lineups just to get into these sales centers were around the block, with people making quick, irrational, and sometimes dangerous decisions about the units that they were going to buy. But now, those very same buyers who were desperately trying to get into the market and buy something are now desperately trying to get rid of those exact same units, and very oftentimes at a significant loss. During the 2021-2022 market, it was a perfect storm for home buyers to get themselves in trouble when it came to new construction. We call these the COVID buyers. We had ultra low interest rates that were propping up the housing market and thus the economy to get people to spend money because of the worldwide pandemic we were experiencing. People were realizing that they no longer could live in small spaces, but they also realized they didn't have to live close to work and could work from home. This resulted in so many people diving into the real estate market and shooting values up absolutely through the roof. Plus, there's this mantra that goes around that real estate values always go up. It is an infallible investment, and that's not always entirely accurate. So come present day, these same very units that these buyers paid ultra high, top of the mountain pricing for, well, it's time to complete on them. They're ready to move in and the developers are looking for their money. The problem is these buyers, they can't complete on these properties. Not only are rates significantly higher than when they originally got into the contract in the first place a few years back, but the prices have changed. In fact, the home price index in the city of Surrey for condominiums is down almost $60,000 for the benchmark price of a condominium from where it was at the peak in the spring of 2022. Stack on top of that the fact not only will these properties not appraise for what the buyers paid for them, meaning the bank won't lend them the money for them, they also have to come up with not only the GST, but also the property transfer tax on top of the premium prices that they paid at the time. So what's happening? Well, buyers are either walking away from their contracts, losing tens of thousands of dollars with their deposits, which is resulting in entire projects being completely flat out canceled, and even some developers of major developments going into receivership because they simply just don't have the money to complete. To put even more fuel on the fire, the developers sometimes are having to sell these at a massive loss because they can't sell them for what they originally were selling for. They might even negotiate with these very buyers to try and get them to still complete on the unit because they can't resell those units at the higher prices they once achieved anyways. But what's the real story behind what's going on with not only the stagnation of the condo market, but why these developers are also having so many problems getting rid of these units? Well, there's really three things that are going on that are incredibly problematic. The first is developers are sitting on a ton of unsold inventory. New condo projects are not selling the way they used to, and builders are quietly slashing their prices or offering incentives behind the scenes. They won't list these discounts publicly because they don't want to hurt the value of the other unsold units. An example of this is this very text message I got from a developer, and one that I'm getting a lot more frequently from developers from all over over the Lower Mainland. Not only have they increased the realtor's commission in all of the homes they're selling to try and get as much activity and action on them as possible, but they're also offering units over $100,000 off the purchase price to get the units moving. The problem with this is pretty evident. The buyer who bought previously, who is not being offered massive incentives like this, is completely missing out. And this information isn't public either. You never know what the person in front of you might have just paid for their unit because they might have been offered different incentives for the unit. This means you could massively overpay for a unit if you're not aware of the incentives in the marketplace. If you're ever looking at new construction, always ask about the hidden incentives. Developers will often throw in upgrades, rate buy downs, or even price cuts, and you only get these if you know how to ask. The next problem on our list is the secret market of complete unreleased inventory. Developers don't often release all of the units they have at once. They hold some back to create artificial demand. And right now, many builders haven't even listed their full inventory yet because they simply couldn't sell them. Behind the scenes, they're trying to sell off these units off the market or in bulk to investors. These units haven't even hit the market yet. And if they do, or when they do, it will be a complete flood of new units coming soon. A tip for anybody looking to buy a presale condominium is to work with somebody who has inside access to know about all of these unreleased units and see if you can scoop one up at a discounted price. So these first two big issues are leading to the third big issue. And that was mentioned earlier, that presale buyers are either walking away from their units or buying and selling them at a complete loss. People who bought presale condos in 2021, 2022 at their peak prices can no longer qualify for the mortgages. Not only that, but the prices they paid will simply not appraise at the banks, meaning they can't qualify for the mortgage anyway. So instead of closing, they're trying to sell their contracts at a loss just to avoid losing their deposit. And this is creating a wave of resale inventory that's undercutting new construction. This is what an assignment is. Somebody bought the rights to purchase a property when it's ready, and they're trying to assign that contract to a new buyer before that property completes, oftentimes at a monstrous loss. So these three things are leading to developers to absolutely blow these units out at massive discounts like the one I showed you in the text earlier. And if you're a buyer, you might be wondering, well, what can I do to take advantage of this market to make sure I get the absolute best deal on a presale condo if that's what you're trying to do right now? Well, my first recommendation is to target unsold developer inventory. Don't just look at resale listings. Check new construction projects with unsold units. Developers often offer huge discounts to buyers who ask, but they won't always advertise it. And oftentimes the real estate community knows exactly what's being offered. But if you go in unrepresented or alone, you might not get the same deal. Number two is don't be afraid to negotiate hard on assignments, people trying to sell units they've already committed to, or new construction in general. There's many presale buyers out there who are desperate to sell before closing because they simply can't make it work. So look for assignments where the seller has already dropped the price below what they paid. These deals exist, but only if you know where to look. And my third tip is one that might catch you a little bit off guard, because that tip is don't wait forever to buy a condominium if you're considering buying either a pre-sale new construction condo or even just getting into the general resale market. So you might be shaking your computer or your cell phone right now saying, why would he say this when this whole video has been all about staying away from these and trying to protect yourself? Well, I'll tell you the reason. Because of all of the challenges with constructing new property right now. You've got high interest rates. You've got land that is incredibly expensive, materials that are incredibly expensive. You've got labor that is incredibly expensive. You've got all this turmoil in the economy and everything going on with our neighbors down south. Developers are absolutely terrified to take on new projects right now. So why is that an opportunity for somebody like you? This is because developers aren't launching new projects right now, which means in 3 to 5 years, supply will absolutely shrink. Once interest rates drop, or even if they remain where they are and demand returns, condo prices will start climbing again. And without new construction inventory for buyers to choose from, or just new construction adding more units to the market as our community grows, this is only going to increase the demand for existing units already built that are available on the market. So what that means is smart real estate buyers, while they might not get in today, they will get in soon because in 3 to 5 years from now, there's going to be very little new construction coming out, meaning a huge push and demand for things that are already built. Now, I'm curious if you found this video helpful, useful, or at least you learned something. Do me a favor and help other people discover it by either giving it a like or adding a comment down below and let us know what you think about what we presented here today. And if you are somebody that's considering buying, you're probably interested in buying in the very best community that is available. If you're someone that's looking at buying in Surrey, you want to know where your money is not only going to go the furthest, but your investment is going to grow in an area that you absolutely love. Well, find me over on the video coming up next, where I'm going to go over the absolute best, most underrated neighborhoods in all of Surrey where you should consider buying your next home. I'll look forward to seeing you over on the next video. Cheers.